Hello guys, and welcome again to the channel. So for today's video, I'm going to share to you the deck that I played from yesterday's Pioneer Friday Night Magic held at our local game store, Rory's Place. So just a basic mono red, but I think I'll share some of my experience and what this build would look like as per some of the updated list. Also, I'm going to discuss some of the sideboard choices and probably some sideboard game plans that was added during the expected metagame of our local community. So as a quick background, our EDH, that was FNM weekly Friday was decided to go with the Pioneer format because of the deck's popularity that was added basing on the posting of the tournaments in Manila, and at the same time, since most of our players here has some cards that was already rotated out of standard but still opted to use them in a format, so this is basically a good way for them to go with this build because of the availability of the cards. First off, because they are not rotating, and at the same time they are always on hand because they are from the previous standard that they was able to play from the previous standard. So it was quite the same build, but was just added with some older sets cards, like for example some those from way back in Teros, Beyond Death, some M15, also some replica cards that was preempted to add on this build. And so, as comparing today's deck tech for mono red, which I played yesterday or last night, this is a combination of old cards and several old cards, and at the same time added value to maximize the gameplay output. So let me just adjust the cards. These are some of the card choices. It's not really looking to fit this screen, but anyway, mono red is very, very basic, but our core strategy here was go with the semi devotion advantage, that of basing on the Throne of Eldraine deck build with Turban. So you can see here Turban. I had 2 copies in the deck along with 3 copies of Cleave. So this works like basically having creatures curve out pretty well and have your Cleave cost 1 less for each attacking creature you control, and put it out to deal huge amount of damage and basically ending the game just from right there. So for the lands, we have 23 lands in total. These are the land choices: Dunbark, Beers, Castle, Ramanap Ruins, and Swensan, 1 copy, along with some mountains to fit with this. Next, we also go with the 2 drops and 1 drops. Okay, let's go with the 1 drop first. We have 2 copies of Sip Spear, 2 copies of Phoenix Chick, and playset of Commando Faces Kakasan. So basically it becomes a true drop in a sense, given that it's just a saga, because of its ability that can curve out. You can deal 1 extra damage, you can put a counter on this creature cast spell, and then put it into a saga creature or enchantment creature with this ability, Etching of Commando. So this is a good card with haste also, and also the passive effect that can exile creatures, which would not enable them to trigger their die triggers or put into the graveyard effects. Then we go with the 2 drops. This is basically a lot of most of the build, because we go with the usual strong cards in the deck with Robber of the Rich, 3 copies. This was also from Eldraine build that was based 2 copies of Kariseb and 1 copy of Abbot of Keral Keep that can go an extra card to cast along with the prowess ability, and then 4 copies of Eidolon of Great Rebel that can basically punish out decks that players that cast mana cost 3 or less. So 4 copies of these. So for the 3rd drops, we have our core creatures. Bone Crusher Giant basically becomes a stamp on turn 2 and then casting out on turn 3 as a hard cast for 3 to cast for 3. And Anax, Hardened Scales. Because of the Hardened Force, ability that whenever a creature control or Anax dies, if it has power that for greater, they will create 2 copies of those tier tokens. But if only one or three or less, they will only create one. So most of the time, because of this devotion ability, it will go with a power that has usually 4 or more and goes well with an Cleave that adds bonus output of the damage because of its devotion to it. Now, along with this, we also have 2 copies of the Chain Wheeler. We expected some mono green matchups of the metagame, along with maybe some tokens or any shenanigans that goes with the 1/1s. Then we have Goblin Chain Wheeler to deal with them. And also a solid devotion for ability effect, a 3/3 body, and a first strike also that is also good in combat. So again, we have the only 4 drop here. We have the Torbrand, as I mentioned, additional damage for all your source and your red source, and our spell with the Ember Cleave, which also added 3 copies of Play with Fire, and Chandra just to kill 1 copy. So just a utility, Planeswalker gives you extra cards, and also ping off any damage, and works well with Torbrand. With instead of ping 1 damage, you will get to ping 3 damage instead. Now for our sideboard choices, this is quite a variance here because of my choices. So I'm really fond of playing 1-offs on this deck. So we're going first with Burning Hands. This will go with a Beam Stompy matchup, and also can kill off cards like a Chariot, a Troll, because of the 6 damage effect and instead of 2. And we also have 2 copies of Gravedigger's Cage. This is for the Phoenix decks, and those decks that goes with playing flashback effects, so Gravediggers. Then also have Fry. This is for killing off Teferi or just any threat from the spirits, because of they can target white or blue creature, Planeswalker, and this spell can be countered in the bonus. We also have Ramping Dawn for creature aggro decks that also has minis and can deal with the life gain shenanigans. 2 copies of those. 1 copy has a Fervent, of course, for the mid-range control decks. Go with the late game because of indestructibility and haste, and also a bonus of discarding a card to deal 2 damage to its opponent. And of course, a Braid. I combo this with a Braid and this one to deal with artifacts and also opponent's Ember Cleaves, Ember Death, Shield Breaker, and 2 Braids. We also have Chandra's Defeat for our mirror match, mono red, and 2 copies of Chandra's Torture Defiance as a gas for late game against mid-range decks such as Rakdos, and also with the Blood Control, Chandra as a Torture Defiance to deal extra damage, get play top cards, and also 4 damage to any target creature. Last but not the least, this should be an upgrade of the Obliterating Bolt instead of Lava Coil, because this one can deal with damage with Planeswalkers, this one would not, with the same slot of the sorcery speed and 2 mana cost. So overall, that's the sideboard plan. It's quite basic to go with this, and if you are really familiar with how aggro board out spells or creatures, you just go with the most efficient, the least efficient creatures, and sub it up with your late game good cards such as this one, Azoret or Chandra. Initially, I said out if you're going to go with more removal, I usually said out these ones, these copies, and some of these maybe, because it might go against us, especially for mirror matchups, because we're having a damage race. It may be a good card or a bad card, but most of the time it would be a bad card against them. So we usually go with more spot removals, as this one, Braids. We also have Obliterating Bolt and Lava Coil for them, for their Torbrand, and of course Chandra. Now for control, usually you will have Gravediggers for maybe Shenanigans Flashback, control with Fry, Bidding for Dawn, Azoret, and Chandra. So that's basically basic for most of the matchup. The Pioneer format might be looking to be a good type of gameplay with all of the existing variants of the decks, but the sideboarding is pretty much basic as for how this deck would work out on this kind of gameplay. You would really expect, if you're going to go slow, you might side out 1 or 2 copies of Cleaves. If you have expecting them to be more of the creature removal control, then you would side out this one, as would be more less effective. And some of the play with fire would not, you would really prefer to have more creatures on the board rather than just having direct damage. That is for control matchups. Now for some of the mid-range, you will just do some adjusting. For example, we go out with this, since it can become a layable 3-drop, it might be slow at the same time. So these are just the regular 3-drops. You will cut out this, you might cut out some of these. If they're going to go mid-range, wherein Eidolon would not really affect their spells. So we might cut out on this and this one. But you will still maintain to sub some of your spot removals into efficient sideboard cards such as this one. So I guess that's about it for this video deck tech for Pioneer Mono Red that we played in our local MTG Pioneer FNM. So if you're going to be interested in joining these tournaments, we have this one every Friday around 6 p.m. Pro Risk Place. You can contact me for any details and clarification how to get to that location. So that's about it. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you like and subscribe for more MTG content. Until next time, guys, and see ya.